I thought the joint practices, they're the high point of the year every year. I love them. Kyle likes them more than the games. Trey Lance got a lot of good work done, and we're going to talk about that. Brandon Aiyuk, not a fan. He said the joint practices essentially were a boring waste of time. But instead of me paraphrasing what he said, why don't we listen?
Brandon, what do you take away from these two practices?
It was good work. It was good work, going against somebody different, in a different environment. But I felt, I ain't like it too. I feel like it was a waste of time personally, but.
No, that's kind of why I was getting at.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed boring to us, so I didn't know.
It was boring for sure. I think it was boring because it was a little bit of like day one stuff, the basic stuff. Just, I know I was getting a little irritated having only touched the ball like 3 times in the past 2 days, but that's beside the point. Anyways, Kyle he's getting, I think, they always got their own agenda on what they're trying to get done and accomplish here. So we just take it getting better every single rep and then figure that out later on.
So he said it was boring. He said it was a waste of time. 3 touches in 2 days. I looked through my notes. He's right. 3 catches in 11s the last 2 days. I have very strong feelings about what he just said. What do you think about what he just said?
There's a couple things to it. One, I think what Aiyuk probably needs to understand, I think Kyle's probably trying to build that relationship between Trey and Debo. That's probably a big focus. He already knows Aiyuk and Trey Lance have that relationship and that timing already down. And I think he's trying to get Debo as much work. From my understanding, Debo was targeted a lot. You would know better, but my understanding, he was targeted a lot. So I'm sure Kyle, that's what he's doing. But Ayuk's a receiver, right? So they want the ball, So he's hungry, and I like that about him. Didn't bother me too much. I know some people were worried about, he's in the doghouse again. I don't think Kyle's tripping on it like that. And Ayuk did clarify what he's saying. I think it was via Twitter, Instagram, basically saying that he just wants to go against the number 1 defense, talking about the Niners versus the Vikings. So. Yeah, what did you think?
Well, look, he walked it back good because what he said, I wasn't here for it. I went back to write I didn't know he was going to talk. I didn't know he was going to say that it was a boring waste of time. So what he said here was not good. And then he walked it back and says, not what he meant. Good. This is not what you meant, Brandon. I'm with you. This is not what you meant. Because what you said was that this was a waste of time for you, right? Like, this is a team. And Trey had a lot of good work. The quarterback of your team who needs work got work. You helped him. I was there. It looked like a very productive 2 days. You only got 3 balls. Okay, let's talk about that. It's true. 3 balls. You did get 5 targets, though, and you dropped 2 of them. Debo actually only got 7 targets. He caught 5 of them. Kittle got 7 targets. He caught 5 of them. So you're really only quibbling about 2 targets. And to me, what I'm hearing is, how come those 2 got more targets than me? It's not that you only got 3 balls or 5 balls. It's that you didn't get as many as Debo or Kittle. Well, Debo's an all-pro. Kittle's an all-pro. You may be an all-pro one day, but you haven't done it yet. And if you're going to take targets and touches away from those 2, you're going to have to earn it. And it's going to take more than a couple good weeks in August. So I'm glad he walked it back, because this was just like, there's Brandon Aiyuk's ego. Okay, because you don't think of him having one. He's so quiet and so young. But yeah, of course, his first-round pick, hasn't gotten paid yet, wants his touches. Hey, man, you're 3rd in the pecking order on a run-first team. Get used to it. Or ball out. You dropped 20% of your targets, Brandon. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I think Ayuk's hungry, man, and probably that's where that frustration comes from. He knows this is the year he's got to show what he can do, and everything was going great. Debo shows up, and now it's a little bit more Debo focused, and I think he's probably concerned with that. Am I going to get the targets that I want this year in order to prove who I am? He's still young, he's still immature. Obviously, the statements like that shouldn't have said it. But at least he walked it back, and I don't think Kyle's probably not too worried about it. They probably had a talk.
No, Brandon needs to have his best. He knows this is a contract push year although he's not going to get an extension next year. It'll be the year after that. But this is a time for him to really do well. And I can see, if I were in his position, I'd be a little apprehensive about targets and touches. Like, am I 3rd in the pecking order? Are we going to throw it very much? But frankly, from Kyle's perspective, a 7-7-5 target split, it's pretty fair, man. I don't know. And I've never heard Debo ever say anything like this, ever. And we're not even talking about a game, Ryan. Not a game, practice. He didn't get enough
Talking
touches
about
in practice. Never heard Debo say that in the game or practice. Never heard Kittle say that in game or practice. Yeah, I'm glad he walked it back. You don't want to go down that road as a wide receiver. You don't want to be seen as the "it's all about me" guy, right?
Yeah.
You don't.
And
I
there's
don't
so
think
many
he's
of
that
them.
kind of guy.
Yeah.
I know his mother. He is a good kid. He's a good guy. It's a good family. She would not like that. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that frustration was still sitting with him through practice. You know, when you had that interview, it was after practice, and he was still feeling that frustration when he interviewed. I bet if he was interviewed the next day, he wouldn't have said stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's just got to learn, keep that stuff to himself.
And again, I wasn't there. I was in the press room, but listening to it, it sounded more like he was just frustrated with how he performed. And I know he explained it differently, but he didn't have his best performance. He dropped 2 passes. You know, he had an opportunity to really impress Justin Jefferson and Patrick Peterson, and he just wasn't the best Aiyuk, the best version of himself. That's frustrating. So I understand that. So anyway, I'm gonna let him off the hook. It's just interesting that he said it. And the reason I went back to the press room is like, he's not gonna. There's a 2% chance a football player says something like that. I'm like, oh God, Brandon did it. So thanks, Brandon. Anyway,
there you go. Appreciate it, Brandon.